Hello. If you're here for the first time, my name is Jenny Dye. Welcome to today's burst of hope, my gift to the world because everyone needs hope. You know, I see so many people who give up hope because they don't have the right past. They don't have the right credentials. They didn't have the chances other kids did growing up, so they decide that they'll never have the life they used to dream of. They've given up hope of ever being more than they are right now. Well, today I'm going to introduce you to a kid that no one ever dreamed would accomplish anything. He was nothing but trouble from the very beginning. Everyone knew he was headed for nothing but bigger trouble. And really, who would have blamed him? He didn't have much going for him. His name was George. His parents were too busy running their tavern and basically ignored their son. To cover his unhappiness, George took advantage of every opportunity to cause trouble. He stole, skipped school, chewed tobacco, and drank whiskey, all before he was 7 years old. I believe in today's world, they would call that acting out. Well, you know, it was the police who finally stepped in and got the parents to pay attention to their son. Oh, they paid attention, all right. Just long enough to place their son in a reformatory orphanage and go back to their tavern. They had taken care of their problem and rarely saw George again. Well, George went from being a wild child to being watched at every moment. He was simply unable to adapt to the strict regulations of St. Mary's Industrial School for Boys. He was quickly classified as incorrigible, and once again, the people around him figured he was destined for a life of failure. Incorrigible was probably the nicest thing they could think of to say. But by the way, in case that's a word you're not familiar with, incorrigible means incapable of being corrected or reformed. Once again, George had been labeled a failure. Until one man saw promise within the boy and introduced him to the game of baseball. It seemed the boy had a knack for it. More importantly, he still had a spark of hope left that this man fanned into flame with his belief in him. Instead of walking out on life, he poured his energy and hope into baseball. Well, you want to know who young George became? Whether you're a baseball fan or not, everyone knows the name Babe Ruth. Yep, incorrigible George became the world-famous Babe Ruth. The very name draws up the image of home runs. When you learn more about him, the name also conjures up images of drinking bouts, devoured hot dogs, partying, and carousing. Babe Ruth never gave up his wild ways. He simply found a way to channel some of them doing what he loved to do, play baseball. Now here's something a lot of people don't know, unless you're a sports trivia nut. Babe Ruth actually began his march to fame as a pitcher, setting many records for his prowess on the mound with the Boston Red Sox. His famed pitching and impressive hitting weren't enough, though. The Boston Red Sox owner, needing money to finance his dreams of Broadway, sold the Babe to the New York Yankees. It was another in a long line of rejections the Babe had experienced. Now, here's the thing. He could have let his bitterness stop his life and halt his drive to success and fame. He made a different choice. He kept playing. He kept swinging. He kept doing what he loved. He played baseball. As he kept playing, his ability to hit home runs exploded. He became famous. He created home run records that stood for decades. He smiled, laughed, lived life to the fullest, and he kept on swinging. Now here's the thing most people don't talk about, and really the reason why I'm telling you this whole story. While it's true he hit more home runs than anyone else, it's also true that he struck out more times than anyone. He only hit a home run on average about every 11 times at bat. He failed more times than he succeeded. Did you get that? He failed more times than he succeeded. Yet he went on to become an American icon, loved by millions, a household name, a candy bar. Why? Because he chose to keep swinging. A strikeout, a walk, a single, they were all necessary to get him to the next home run. He kept swinging. You know, as I've studied the lives of successful people, I've seen this truth. Most have failed more times than they have succeeded. Yet they chose to keep swinging until they finally connected with the right thing, the right business, the right relationship, the right way to do something. They learned from every failure and jumped right back into the game. So what keeps them swinging? Hope. Hope that this swing will create what they desire. Hope that the lessons they are learning are going to make the next swing work. Hope that says they are so much more than their perceived failures. Now here's my question for you today. Have you failed at something? More than one something? Great! Here's what you have to do now. You have to stay in the game. You have to keep swinging. You'll finally connect. You'll find that right thing. You'll meet that right person. You'll discover the right way. The only way you can fail is if you put the bat down and choose to stop swinging. You can choose today to decide to keep swinging because you can choose today to hold on to hope. Do you remember my definition of hope? Hope is the bird that sings to the dawn while it is still dark. You can choose to sing before the light starts flooding into your life, believing that it will come. I'm here on the journey with you. Remember, the choices you make today will determine the rest of your life. So choose hope.